Today's topic is Chochma and Binah. These are the first two dimensions of what we call the 10 Sefirot. There is, when Hashem emanates from Himself, these lights that we speak about, there are 10 powers that He emanates from Himself, called 10 Sefirot. And they have these names, the first two of which are Chochma and Binah. Now, Chochma and Binah, as they then exist within each and every one of us, within our souls, are easy to explain. And from understanding the way it is within us, we gain some form of appreciation the way it is in the divine. Chochma means wisdom, is translated as wisdom, but I would like to say that Chochma is the creative spark. And Binah is to fully appreciate and understand the concept. So, for example, let's say you have a difficulty in understanding an idea, and you're working hard and you can't really relate to it and you can't really figure it out, and all of a sudden a spark comes into your mind and you say, I got it. That I got it, that spark that comes into your mind that says I got it, that's Chochma. That's a flash of creativity that comes into you, that gives you the beginning of the concept that you're going to understand. Now, if you're sitting with a group of people and you're all dealing with an issue that you're trying to understand, and one of you gets all of a sudden, says, I think I got it. And everyone will say, so what is it? What is it? And they say, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. It doesn't work that immediately as he gets this flash, he's able to explain it and express it to everyone else. Because this flash is actually coming from without. It's coming from somewhere else into your mind. And therefore, it takes time for you to then integrate it into yourself and to try to actually see if it fits with all the details of the issue you're dealing with. Because where Chochma comes from what we might call an idea well. It comes from a power of understanding, but doesn't actually have ideas in it, just the potential to give out ideas. In Kabalah, this is called koyach hamaskil, the power, the potential for understanding. So what I call an idea well, or a flintstone, which is able to give forth sparks of light. This flintstone of ideas is a source for the actual chochma, the actual wisdom that comes into your mind when you have this issue, when you have this concept that you're trying to appreciate and trying to understand. Only afterwards, once it's come into your head, then you try to incorporate it within yourself, to actually make it yours, and to make it part of your understanding, and therefore being able to explain it to others as well, because then it is yours. Now, the difference between Chochma and Binah is before you reach the level of Binah, if you only have Chochma, it's something that's not necessarily yours. It's something you don't really have. It's only through then thinking about it that you make it your own. So, give you an example to this concept. Let's say you hear a lecture. You hear a lecture from someone who's doing what we call frontal teaching. They're standing up there and just teaching a concept. And whilst this lecture is going on, you find that it's riveting. It captures you. It's inspiring. You appreciate and understand it all. Then you might come home and your spouse will ask you, what was said at the how was the lecture? And you'll say, it was fantastic, it was riveting. And then they'll say to you, so what was said? And you'll say, I can't really remember. He spoke about that, without being able to give a full appreciation of what was actually said. Why is that so? Because what's happening here is it's not your idea. Someone is feeding you with concepts, feeding you with ideas. And because someone else is feeding you these ideas, it's not your own. Unless you then, once it comes into your mind, sit down and think through this, or possibly discuss it with someone else, you're not going to retain that idea that was just sent to you. Because it was sent to you from outside and it did not become yours yet. So you take this lecture and you go home and you try to give it over. You're not going to, because you didn't make it your own. Whereas, let's say you went to a class where there was interactive reading and learning. You read texts and you try to figure out the meaning of those texts. And you come up with your own conclusions through that form of study, which is more the modern way of study. Even though it might not be as riveting, as exhilarating, what will, however, happen is that it'll be yours. You will have it. You will retain it to a much greater degree. And this is really the difference between Chochma and Binah. Chochma comes from outside of you. Because it comes from outside of you, if you don't file it away in your own brain, you're going to lose it. Whereas Binah is something that you've already filed away. It's become yours. And therefore, something you've already understood in that way, anytime anyone asks you about it, you have it. It's there. You haven't lost it. It's always been there for you. So this is a short summary of what Chochma and Binah are. Thank you for joining us at JewishTV.media. Please join us again in the future.
JewishTV.media